that you're all joining us from all around the world, I must say. I'm at the moment in Brisbane, in Australia. We had a sunny day, so I can't really complain. I'm sure that I beat a couple of you guys to the sunshine. So before we begin, you signed up today for Go for the Win. It is a discovery event, and we will be sharing some personal stuff perhaps along the way. So just be mindful of the fact that we have an online and safe environment space. We are here to share and to connect with each other, and feel free to ask any questions either in the chat or just raise your hands. Maybe we pick it up, but for sure, always your questions in the chat are welcome. We will go through a variety of information. Like I said, we try to engage and to connect with each other, and more details about the Academy of Integrus and Thinking Color will be provided to you at the end of this session. All right, so I hope that you can all see my screen. Can we have a thumbs up that we actually can see my screen? Perfect. I see a lot of thumbs up, which I like. That's a good start. So before we start, obviously, I will introduce myself a little bit more properly, more so than only telling you about the weather and where I am. So I chose this picture basically to directly give you an insight about me. And it is quite suiting for me because I always want to know what is further and beyond. So the definition of winning, it became more clear to me the older and the more experience I got. And life experience, even though I'm still maybe young, being just 33 and young in the head, however, I had quite a life experience already. Not only on the court as a high performance coach, but also off court. And literally I had the choice to step into an actual court of law, or I had the opportunity to choose the sandpit. And I chose the latter because I'm an international beach volleyball coach and I work on the highest level. However, my degree as a lawyer always helped me go wherever I went, and it made me grow. It made me interested still in the corporate life. And basically I blended my law degree with my high performance profession. I gotta say that it took me quite some courage to stay within the high performance sport, like after I ended and completed my athlete life. But being a coach for me is everything. Like, it is literally the picture that you see in front of you. It's always looking what is next, what else is there, how can we unlock and unravel the person in front of us. And that for me became purpose, and it is actually my why. Now, this discovery event basically embodies everything what we see here. We don't know what is beyond the water, where the birds are flying to, what is in the mist, what is tomorrow, or what will fade away from today. So especially as a performance coach, I always see the people first. Now, saying that means that I'm always searching for methods, for principles, and then apply it to the person. And that makes my job at least like beautiful. So being here with all of you today already challenged me massively. So Rael asked me before, how am I doing? And I said, oh, you know, I'm excited in a good way. However, even more so because I have the opportunity to share what I know with you guys, and that already makes me better. So a bit more practical, I guess, or a bit more what I do on a day-to-day basis. Currently, I'm leading 2 Olympic campaigns for Volleyball Australia. I have women and I have men, and we try to get to the new Tokyo of 2021. And within this spectrum, I have some additional projects to bring other people forward as well. So that's what I do. I'm sure there is some space to ask me more about it, and I'm for sure very definite that I will talk enough to give you more information later on. Let me shortly introduce as well Rael. He is the inspirationalist of Integrus Behavioural. Do you want to say a few words?
No, I'm good. I'm sure I'll speak as well during the presentation, so we will we will just, well, I'll be quiet for a change.
I like, especially for a change. We also have on board today Peter Sylvester, hands up, I would say, and Lindsay Adams.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Greetings from Brisbane, Australia.
Bris Vegas.
Yeah, Bris Vegas. Yep, that's it.
All right. So let's dive in. Let's go for it. Obviously, living and breathing high performance since I was a very little girl, I had to choose a title for my webinar today. And it was quite easy. Go for the win. However, it's easier said than done. So for all of you guys here today in the webinar, something triggered you to attend the meeting. Maybe I gave you a very good invitation, or the title triggered you to step on board. Whatever it is, something in our brain picks up the potential for a reward. So our brain works as a constant reward seeker. And knowing that success is one of the highest and the most crucial motivators in our lives. So how to actually engage with that concept on a daily basis? What is performance? Now, I am very, very sure that a couple of you guys look at the word and instantly have a vision, an idea, a feeling. Maybe you think in a color, whatever it is. Performance is different in the world, in different cultures, in different environments. It is used in endless varieties. Now, when I came to Australia, almost in every single conversation that I had, performance was in there. Everything that we did was performance. But I came from a different world, and my standards of high performance were significantly different than the performance culture here in Australia. So I had to rewind and I had to blend with the person and the people and the environment in front of me. So what I can state here is that performance is always situational, and it is also conceptual. I am quite sure that something in the title of the webinar was for sure inviting. It was for sure like better saying than, oh, learn not to lose. That's not what we want to hear. So where I'm going at with this introduction, let's call it like that, is that I am interested what performance means for you. Now take a moment and stand still for a moment. What is performance for you? And with which expectation did you came here tonight to increase maybe your personal performance or your professional performance or relationship performance? Just take a minute, take a breath and think, what is my expectations and what is actually performance? So this is apparently what it means. If you chase down the dictionary, you find a very simple definition of the word. And it is the manner in which a mechanism performs or moves. Obviously, I find that very interesting because it basically can mean anything. The individual determines the performance. So again, talking from my perspective, leading 2 Olympic campaigns, the moment I start working with them, I instantly have expectations from my athletes. I instantly am biased with the perception of what we are doing. So also for you guys, you signed up to listen to a high performance coach, an international high performance coach. So with my title already, you are biased with what you think I'm capable of. So I should be able to lead, to guide, to be an outstanding expert in my field. Look, don't get me wrong. I won't sit here and say that I'm not good in what I'm doing. I am. However, I do rely on the team around me. So in this room, I also rely tonight on Rael, on Peter, and on Lindsay. I got here because they educated me and they engaged with me. It's the same on court with my athletes. I need to blend in with them and they need to blend in with me. So how to do that? And that is exactly what, if we're talking about a better team performance, or if we're talking about great ideas about better business, it is about blending. It is about people. It is about communication and how to do that more effectively. So tonight we speak about the role of Integrus, especially within my strive to maximal performance, because actually it gave me an acceleration to be better, to be a better me, to be better in my work, to be better in business. So again, like make a moment for yourself, think about it, and be open for the knowledge that we are sharing with you. I'm sure you walk away with at least one thing that you can take away tonight and make you a better you tomorrow. That's what we're here for, aren't we? Now I'm really late with showing you this slide because my entire story was actually made up with coming together as a beginning and staying together, and especially the working together. Often people perceive self-development without a notice of, oh, I actually need people. But asking for help is something of the most difficult things that we have to do in life. But it is the way to actually be better. Or in other words, if you go for not to lose, sometimes people can slow you down if you don't know how to interact or how to build effective and functional relationships. So that's a good bridge for me. And like I said, I'm sure I talk enough tonight. So welcome to my world. What do we see here? I see heaps of stuff. Obviously I lived it. So I go from the Netherlands to Australia and around the world. And most of all, I actually see people. I see distinct people. I see young people. People without a clear identity yet. I see success. I see medals. I see smiles. I see bronzes. I see challenges. So I am a high performer and I'm very, very competitive. But I do see challenges always, like tonight. And I actually thrive when I'm under pressure. I do not cope very well if I'm cruising and I have nothing to do, basically. But with my personality and with my leadership style, I need a certain playground. I need a work field that is compatible with my capacity, with my aspirations, that gives me space for creativity and leadership. Obviously, you would think that my resume is quite a catch, but it can also be a catch-22 because for some environments, I'm for sure not easy to work with. So actually with that acknowledgement of myself, I can now effectively make decisions. I can choose the environment. I can also manipulate my challenges so that I can actually strive in multiple situations. So today we're also gonna look in the mirror and learn a little bit more about ourselves, which basically is a foundation and a need if you wanna move forward. The photos are still nice. I like to look at them. So many memories in there. All right, back to where we were. So great ideas for better teams. When we wrote that down, I was like, okay, where do we start? Because every single team is different. And in my experience, in every masterclass that I did, in all the webinars and all the classes, I found myself sitting in the UK, if I remember well. And we had a huge seminar with a lot of knowledge and very highly respected experts. And bottom line was, yeah, it depends on the situation. I remember that I was so dissatisfied of that answer because I wanted to have the answer. And then it came back to myself again that I am responsible to create a puzzle towards success, to create my own winnings. But on the other hand, that allows us to do basically whatever we want and what we can. So in this webinar, if we speak about great ideas for better teams, let me break your illusion. You're not gonna walk out of here tonight with truth. You are the person that needs to connect the dots. But we can say that we need to be brave as an individual. to create a deeper understanding about yourself, which will make the team better. A better you will make somebody else better. You need to be able to have tough conversations, for sure. For a clearer perspective, how to exploit each other's strengths. And that is the most important thing, not to burn each other to the ground. And also we have to put unique values and share in unique values brought to the table. And we need to blend together with them to actually make a competitive advantage with purpose. We know where we want to go. How do we do that together? What do you need to do and what do I need to do? So bottom line, basically, if I am thinking about what I'm doing on a daily basis and why do I do what I do, I started asking myself, is it to be a coach, to have the status of that title? No, actually, not really, not really. So I actually had that realization a little while ago. So obviously we are all living the days of COVID. So let's bring it back to reality of today. Well, you know, my quote here is actually a realization that I unaware knew is what I did on a daily basis, but it took me a bit to start asking myself the right questions. So when COVID hit, I lost my job and I found myself with beautiful leadership in my pocket and all my attributes. However, I didn't have one playground to play in. So I started asking myself, what do I do? Where will I go? But finally, I ended up with asking myself, why? So no matter what you do, how good you are, where you are, but to strive for your best self comes only if you understand your actual why. So the quote that is here basically embodies everything what I'm standing for. Now, for you, already engaging with us tonight, I'm telling you that we will end up in maybe a confrontation with yourself or maybe with others. And you need to be ready to engage with yourself, with every personal trait that you have, with weaknesses, with strengths, but that is the challenge. That is the challenge. If you want to go for the win, you need to be ready to take a loss. But a loss, you can just bend that into a positive or in a new challenge to grow. So keep that in mind the further we go today. So if I'm talking about sport, and I know that some of you are not per se in sport, then I'm saying, well, look, it is still important to share the knowledge. Integrus is not per se built for sport. It is more than just sport. It reaches out to every area of life. That is the reason why I wanted to commit to Integrus. And it is also, for me, a very important thing to say, because sport for me is so much bigger than just sport. And it is basically a reflection of the world. It is an absolute reflection of the world. So sport for me is a closed environment where life skills are tested, are trained, are refined every day. And by saying that, I chose this picture to share with you. And I'm sure you can identify yourself with one another. And we always have this picture in every presentation. And it is just funny to see how people react on it. So take a moment, choose one or the other, which you think you can identify yourself with. And just, how do you feel? Why did you choose that puppet on the screen? Why did you choose that cartoon? Is it the hair? Is it the gender? Is it the color? Just take a moment. Gives me a moment to breathe as well. All right. Now that I'm back on my ground, I would like to ask, after my big introduction of who is Margo and what is going for the win, hopefully somebody in the room would like to share their introduction. Please don't take as well like 29 minutes as I did, but I would like to invite the people in the room to make an introduction. So who do we have on board tonight?
Can I just comment, Anna, those who are muted, if you just press your space bar, then you can talk and then just release the space bar when you finish talking. So anyone who would like to, take the 30 seconds and introduce themselves, where they are, their name, where they are in the world, and, what they do or how they do it or why they do it, that would be fantastic. Well, I'm just going to pick on people then.
I'm happy to go first, if that's all right.
Great.
Yeah, no problem.
So my name's Jason. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I currently coach volleyball, women's volleyball over in Lindesberg in Sweden. Basically, I'm on here today under invitation and also to gain some experience hearing from other people's experiences and see how that can relate to my growth going forwards. And I guess I picked the guy in the green shirt holding his hands up to the sky because it was a gender hair color thing. I think I match closely physically to that person, so yeah, that was my choice.
Thank you, Jason.
My turn. I'm Anna. I'm a retired lawyer. Yeah, retired from legal practice few years ago from Singapore. Yeah, and because I've already built up a business asset, with the help of my mentor. Yeah, and currently live in Perth, Australia. Yeah, and enjoying a very good retirement life. So from the cartoon, I will pick the ladies in yellow. Yeah, I mean, mainly because yellow is my favorite color. It represents sunshine. Yeah, no particular reason about the gesture, everything, just the color. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna.
Thanks, Anna.
Should we have one more? Any other volunteers? Jared.
I'll jump in if no one else will. So I'm Jared. I'm also based in Sydney. Also working in volleyball, believe it or not. I'm an event manager by trade, but yeah, I've had a massive passion for sport and a pretty ambitious person generally. And believe it or not, I associated with the woman in red, not just because I look great in heels, but to me, she looks like she's got a bit of direction. She's trying to go forward and trying to find where she's going. And seemed the most composed of the five.
Thanks,
you,
Jared. All right. Well, I can connect to Jared, I guess, like a little bit most, and I will tell you more later about that. But I do have to laugh about you, Jared, that you actually picked a woman in red. For sure. I will keep that in mind if I come across you again. So what do we hear about it? And obviously, Rael and I already gave you a little bit of direction. So we heard your name, where you're from, what you do. And Jason actually told us as well why he was here tonight. So if you think about it, often we have introductions with new people, intermezzo with heaps of people on a day. Now, as you already noticed, I talk quite easily. I'm alone in Australia, so I just walk up to people and I start talking. It surprises you how many people talk back, and you have the best conversations actually on a daily basis. Now, what strikes me every single time is that people connect in so many ways, and it is a fun game to, before you step towards another person, to make a prediction of that person. Is it a red? Is it a green? Is it a yellow? Is it maybe a blue? So what I find often is that if you walk across the street, you get, how do you say that? You get what you see. It's not per se what I'm aiming for. I often feel that you make connections more easy with people that are standing a little bit closer to your own personality or to your own character. And it is something maybe in your gut that you end up with those people more easily around you. However, you know as good as I do that in life, in business, or anywhere else, you not always have that power of choice. So bottom line, people connect in many ways, and the communication is key no matter what you do. Without communication, you can be as good as you want to be, and you can strive for the top of that building, but you need somebody else's help. You need to be able to articulate yourself and to know with who and when to engage. What is the right time? What is the right moment? And who is the right person for my why? It's not always what, but the why. So I keep coming back to that, and you can identify a red line in my story every single time, because I come back to that because I am actually believing in a cliche. I do believe that everything is possible, and I need to, because I strive for the highest possible. I don't want to go to Tokyo next year and then just stand there to be a tourist. I actually want to go to Rio with a purpose, because I want to matter if I'm standing at the Olympic Games. I want to represent Australia with all of my heart, because it will make me proud, but even more so, it will deepen the value of the life of my athletes, for the country, and for the people behind the television who are actually making the time to support us no matter what we do. So everything is possible as long as you are willing to do whatever is necessary to achieve your goals. So from a personal perspective, saying to you guys, and it's easier said than done, I live high performance my entire life. I live it and I breathe it, not only in work, but in life. I packed up my life. I left the Netherlands because my purpose was to be a better and a best coach. And that's why I went to Australia. And it came with heaps of consequences. Living COVID means that my family and my men are really far away, and I don't see them for, and nobody knows how long. But because of my purpose, I can make a win. I can make a win every single day. So what am I saying in regards to relationships? If we have a deeper understanding of our own purpose and each other, then we can actually make goals reality. And the same applies when you're working in corporate business. When you work with clients and you want to improve sales, which our method is a good one for, then you need to be able to understand where they're coming from and what they're looking for. So now we're getting somewhere. Long introduction into very important to share with you our why. I have to scroll through. So again, I would like to ask you to engage in our conversation. So again, press the space button if you want to say something. Here we go. One is tonight that I'm a high performance coach, but I'm also coach for Integrus, because I believe in what we're doing. But I am actually quite interested if you know what Integrus is. So let's go around the room, press your space bar, and tell us what you think Integrus actually stands for.
You're struggling with volunteers.
We do, actually.
I just go ahead then. I'm here by invitation, but also because I'm interested to actually get to know more. I know about the colors that they sort of are trying to distinguish or describe you and you as a person. But like I said in the beginning, I'm here also to learn more, because yeah, I'm triggered and interested.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Anybody else? What do you think Integrus stand for?
I think everyone's in hiding.
So I will hand over to Rael. We don't have to like be in a classroom per se.
That's okay.
Rael, can you actually tell us more about our Integrus?
Integrus is really, it goes into every aspect of life and in business. It's based around colors and behavioral styles, and how those colors and behavioral styles work in every single thing we do, whether it's interacting with somebody, as you said, a stranger on the street, and how you would, and part of it through our education programs, you get to work out very quickly about that person's behavior, their behavioral style, and how to communicate in the most efficient way with them. we talk of the tagline of Integrus is a method for success in life and in business. A lot of people who talk to me and Lindsay and Peter and others and Jamie, they think it's all about business, but it's in fact, and has been the tagline of Integrus since I've been involved, the method for success in life and in business. And I think that's one of the crucial elements that people have to remember in working with Integrus. So as we work through the next half an hour or so, and we explain a little bit more about the colors, remember those in two contexts. One of those contexts is your life, and one of those is the context of your business life, your leadership, your management skills, and how those two come together.
Thanks, Rael.
So tonight there's you want to flick over, Margo? So tonight we're going to give you, or today, so it's still afternoon here in Perth, and it is nighttime, or heading to nighttime in the eastern states. So there are a couple takeaways for you today. The takeaways tonight are skills that you will be able to apply the moment we finish going for the win. So you will have won already by leaving here today with these skills about how you can more effectively communicate with everybody around you, both in life and in business. And so we are going to be looking at, as we delve into a little bit more detail, the world of these colors and how to effectively make you better communicators by the end of this evening. Because at the end of the day, if you communicate efficiently, you win, and everybody else wins around you. Back to you, Margo.
Thank you. So if it's black and white for you at the moment, which obviously almost is at my side, but if we go from black and white, we go more into colors, all of a sudden things start to make sense. So in my own experience, in my personal and in my professional lives, I did a lot of personality testings, not only for job applications, but also to have a better understanding of my personality, basically. I wanted to learn how to communicate more effectively. So especially being that high performer and being nurtured by the understanding of success or a win, that only winning was good enough and performance was winning or losing, not growing and exploring your best self, I ended up in not understanding why I couldn't connect to people. Like, people connected, but they didn't really engage with me. Or how do I actually get an effective message across? To do that, I need to be able to communicate better. And I need to understand what my message does to another person. How do I impact that other person? So therefore, I also wanted to know, how do I actually function? What can I change? And how can I influence other people as well, especially as a coach? It's crucial. So I did DISC, I did action typing, and well, now I have the experience here with Integrus, especially exactly like Rael said, it is a life blending methodology, and it is a unique one. And for me to blend that with business, with the projects that I'm doing, and the Tokyo campaigns, for me, that's like instantly expanding my horizon. So also for you tonight, we're gonna take you into the world of the colors, and we give you a glimpse of the opportunity of self-development whilst we work together. So again, I would like to remind you that we are in a safe environment. So whatever we share with each other, don't worry about it. We are here to listen to you, and obviously we can all trust each other as a good starting point, I would say. So let's have a look at what does the world of colors mean. Now, a couple of you guys already did the color assessments online. I saw a couple of assessments coming through. So if I take the liberty for myself, I also did this one, and because I stepped into the Academy of Integrus, I was, well, tested not, I was assessed by Peter, and we went through a whole thorough assessment of my personality. So we're going to ask ourselves, which color are you actually? And how does that work for us? So I need you to either write down or maybe take your mobile, or you want to tick the boxes of category 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to zoom in and we're going to take 30 seconds per paper. And we're going to see which one of the 4 categories has the highest score, and we go from there. Rael, did I miss anything?
No, that's it. So if you click over to the next slide, Margo, when we get each of the 4 boxes up, it's very hard to tick because then you leave marks on your screen when you do that. So what we want you to do is just to run through the list and count up those statements that are on the screen that apply to you either in life or in your workplace. So just then make a note on a piece of paper that in category 1, you know, there were 2, 3, or 10 items on that list that apply to you in your behavior in the workplace. So we've got about 20 seconds to go. Just go through that list. I'm going to stop talking for 20 seconds and total them up, and then we'll go to the next category. Okay, next slide. Okay, so now we're in category 2, same thing. Just run through the list and add up the number of those things on the screen that apply to you in category 2. No pressure, but then about another 10 seconds. Okay, category 3. You should be about 3/4 way through category 3 now. And then we'll go to category 4. So about another 10 seconds. For those of you who missed that or want to do the online version, it's on the emails that you would have received as confirmation for today's event. There is a link on those emails. Otherwise, you can always email us back because you would have got the confirmation links, and we will send you the link to do the online assessment, which gives you a similar answer to what we're doing today. This is a throwback, I guess, to the days before COVID when we all sat around in the same room and did all this face-to-face, and we would hand this to you on a piece of paper. So we've had to make allowances and pivot in these unprecedented times. So over to you, Margo.
Give me a second, girl.
Hang on, Margo's gone. Okay. All right. So I'll carry on with this slide while Margo's putting the lights on. Okay, Margo's back.
My apologies to everybody. I'm in a new place and I don't know where the light is, but I found it.
Okay.
Thank you. So like Rael already said, it is very important to understand that each color represents a general approach of like personality styles. So different types have different values, but as you can see in the picture that I put on the screen for you, there is not one that is completely yellow or that is completely red or completely blue or green. So in my case, for instance, I am red, hence Jared, the woman in red. I can completely identify myself with that. The only thing is that I'm standing most of the time on Havaianas in stand instead of on heels, but you know, we can visualize something else. But I also have a hint of blue. So I will walk you through like the different styles to give you more of an idea of the world of the colors, which is obviously a bit more than understanding, okay, I'm red or blue or green or yellow. So And I guess this is very important to really, really understand what I'm saying here. Whatever you do, whatever you sell, if it is a message, if you're a coach, doesn't matter what you are, a message or a product, people are staying and sticking with you because of the why that you're selling, not per se because of the what we are selling. All right, so here we go. I have to click. So we have a quadrant here on the screen, and if I make them fast, we can, if we really think, maybe not call it black and white, but you can obviously make the ends of the spectrums. So we have fast, we have detailed, considered, and how does that actually relate to what? So if we're talking about decision making, our colors, they tell a lot about how we make decisions. And every single color has a different tendency. So as a red, I like to do business quickly. So I was on the phone, for instance, with somebody like yesterday, and she wanted to sell me something. And it took really, really long. But the deal woman actually did her job very well. However, I already had it after 1 minute, and I wanted to know what she was selling because I already understood the why. So if you know that and you're working with me, you are more in the top end of the spectrum and you try to do business with me quickly. So you have to get to the point. Now, if we look at a yellow, for instance, team support is everything. It is important. It is a high value to make a decision. To feel that team support, probably take that person over the line or like drag them across and make a positive decision. If we look at greens, individual relationships are the most important value for a decision. And for the blues, it is actually, what is the proof then? What is the process that we're going through? So a couple of you probably have blue as a main style. So therefore, it is important that we explain to you what Integrus is, but more so what the process is of what we are gonna do with you. So from a sales perspective, again, you can understand what I'm saying. Sell, sell, sell. And for the rest, it's not per se coming to the direct point of making that sell, but we wanna know what is the team doing, which support do I have, which relationship, and what is the proof. What do they buy? And keep in mind, once again, it is very important that it's not only about business. It is about life, it is about relationships, it is about making that win in which area of life. Doesn't really matter. You can apply it to multiple. So also looking at that, the colors tell us a starting point, tells us core values. If you know the values, you know what your starting point is to actually engage with that person. Now, I am quite interested to know which person in the room was a red. Maybe raise hands or thumbs up.
Hey, for those of you who don't know, we're going to just hint at it right now,
Thanks,
which is those who had the most ticks in category 1, and we'll go through those in a little bit more detail in a second. So Jared raised his hand.
Okay, let's start off with the reds first. Oh, I completely forgot this one. My apologies. So what I remembered, and man, I remembered this actually from our training when we did it a couple of months ago, was the numbers. And the number stands for society. So there are only 11% of society is red. Now, if we look at the yellow, there's a 17%, whereas green and blue are the majority of people, which is quite interesting if you go back to effective relationships and building effective communication for yourself. So most of the time you find yourself in a conversation which is more colored with blue and green than anything else. All right.
Sorry, Margo. Yeah, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yeah, does that mean that we need to do our very best to become blue and green since it represents the majority of the society?
Go for it, Rael.
Okay, Anna, the answer is, in order to effectively communicate, you need to be like a chameleon. You need to be able to communicate with people. If you are predominantly a yellow behavioral style, then, and you are talking to somebody who is a blue predominant behavioral style, you will talk to them in words that get to the core of blue behavior. So it does mean you need to change correctly, but you need to change in order to make your communication with them efficient, so and accurate to exactly what appeals to them. Does that make sense? So you don't change your own behavior, you only change it temporarily to communicate with somebody of another behavioral color. Okay, Margo.
So I guess like behavioral predictability is quite important, especially like working as a high performance coach. My athletes need to know how I will respond, and I need to be integral I need to maintain my integrity in the way how I respond. If I completely lose it, if they lose, or it is always a threat how Margo is going to react to stuff, I instantly create an environment of fear. So exactly, because I understand my own behavioral tendencies doesn't mean that I always can apply my interaction with another person. So also knowing what is good for you and how I can actually support you in a better way makes me also a better coach. So I guess like that's my application of the explanation of Rael just before. So going to a red. Now I'm quite aware of the time, and my apologies that I'm running a little bit late, hoping that you guys can stick with us a little bit longer so we can walk you through the colors and their specifics. So being a red, we see on the screen, you see a couple of words popping up: proactive, determined, overcoming challenges, result focused, and achievers. Doesn't exclude anything else, but it does give you a starting point. My technology leaves me high and dry at the moment. So for instance, to share with you as well, is that, do you have subtitles as well? I don't know. All right. So to share with you, for instance, when I worked for the Dutch Federation, I worked with only reds in my team. Every single coach was a red. So you can just imagine the shark tank and the imbalance of us all within that coach pool. I can tell you it wasn't per se very effective because nobody was really understanding their own profile or was willing to change anything else. Talking about ineffective communication. What else can we tell about the reds? So competitiveness and ambition are also associated with the reds. But a risk, for instance, even though they enjoy challenge, difficult or risky situations can evolve in, sometimes being over persuasive for other people or over determined. So also a profile of your behavior can actually indicate your risky behavior or behavior that might potentially derail you. So you can see that all the colors are sharing so much more information than only understanding behavioral styles. It can literally already predict your risk factors. And if you know them, you can anticipate on them and you can prevent them from happening. Now let's go to the yellow. Who in the room was a yellow?
That's who had the most ticks in category 2, or the most number of things in category 2.
All right, so for sure a couple, and we have, since we're living in a COVID era, so the lockdown stress trigger, for instance, is especially for yellow, who are thriving with dynamics and fun and team support and sharing. You know, like, can you imagine a yellow sitting in a room all by himself and having a lack of social contacts? So that is also important to know, that how you're gonna solve that problem, for instance, if you are a yellow. But they're highly socially confident and have a good influence on other people. Always good to have a yellow in your team. For sure, if you think about a yellow in your surrounding, probably you can identify somebody in your narrow surroundings with a yellow profile. Okay, so next one is green. Rael, do you want to do the green?
Sure. So the greens are all the words that are on the screen, which is they're friendly, they're empathetic, they're sociable, they love relationships, and they take care of people. I guess the problem with lockdown, and lockdown not only in Melbourne, in Australia, but pretty much everywhere else in the world, is the sudden change or the uncertainty, because they take care, but they also need time. They need time to make decisions, and so they don't like uncertainty. They like to build long-term relationships. They like a predictable, a constant environment. They're not really assertive, pretty much unassertive. They need some instructions and a high level of support, and avoid confrontation because they're about building relationships. So those who had the most ticks in category 3, this applies to you. This is the green behavioral style.
I would say keep on going with the blue.
Yes. Okay. So the blues their lockdown stress is structures not being followed. The blues are out there shouting at everybody who's not wearing masks walking around Melbourne. You know, the blues, they tend to be withdrawn, potentially a little bit headstrong. They're driven by process and planning and structure. That's really what they want proof. They want proof of things, of testimonials of how things work, and they need time. It's one of the biggest motivators for blues, is giving them time to make a decision.
Who else in the room was a blue? I guess we have to ask that question as well.
Okay. Can I, before we move on from that, Margo, I'd like Peter, who's just messaged me, he wants to make a comment on Anna's question, to add some more information to that.
Sure, absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi from England. It's good to speak. Anna, I just want to address that question that you asked about. Do you mean you have to change? Anna, let me ask you, what was your native language? What did you, when you were brought up, what was your native language? What did you learn at school?
Mandarin. Sorry, my family, we speak Mandarin, but in school we speak Malay.
Okay, now, and yet now you're speaking English.
Yes.
That's exactly what we do. So you have a natural language, which is your family language. Then at school you had a learned language, and now you speak English. So you already speak 3 different languages. That's exactly what we're talking about here with colours. Exactly the same. So you learn a language so that you can communicate better with those people around you in the language that they are thinking in, and that's the colour language rather than a Malay, an English, or a French, or whatever language. So that's what we're asking for here. Now, when you, as Rael pointed out, when you learn these languages, it's easy to change between the different languages, as I'm sure, Anna, you do very well, between your family language and your Mandarin into your Malay and then into English. You can change just like that, the language that you're speaking. That's exactly what we do with the colours. So that means that when you are communicating with people, you are able to get your message over to them, and better still, understand their message so much more clearly. I just hope that puts it into context from what you were saying.
Okay, thanks, Peter, on that.
You're welcome.
So can I just ask one important question? So I need to, when I meet someone, I need to immediately figure out whether they are blue dominant or green or red or yellow. Yeah, roughly, I need to
you
know
do.
that.
But I can tell you, once you understand this language, it's easy. It's easy to spot the predominant language of the other person who you only meet in the first 30 seconds. You will be able to identify them. And that is what we teach.
I see. Thanks.
I can completely move through my next slides because I can't say it better than Peter. So being a team, I just move through that. Then I also like jump on my time frame. So I see a win-win here. See, everything falls into place here tonight, going for a win. I had a helping hand from Peter. Anna knows better. We all got a better understanding of what we're doing. Here we go. Goals it is. So before we wrap it up, basically you're provided tonight with your starting point. So your color. So what can we do with that? As extended the explanation was from Peter. It is up to you what you want to do with this opportunity. So you can make up a personal goal, you can make a professional goal or a development goal, whatever it is. For me, stepping into this environment was twofold, basically. I wanted to improve my relationship, not only relationships, I have to say, with my athletes, with my colleagues, with my experts, with my staff who I'm working with. But I also would like to improve my relationship with my partner, for instance. So we are opposites from each other, and because I understand myself better, I could change my behavior towards him, and I actually became hopefully a more enjoyable person around this relationship. So it is a life blending method for sure. If you can identify your performance gap, then you can also understand what you need to do to overcome that performance gap. And that is what I'm doing on a daily basis, basically. So using the colors as a guideline, as a base, you can find clarity in the daily maze of challenges. So I would like to ask you to take a moment, take this into account. What is your goal? What do you would like? Where do you see an opportunity to maybe step into our environment, into our team, to make personal gains? And to give you a little bit of a push in the right direction. Maybe it is to increase your sales success, maybe to interact better with the whole world, to make a great team, grow your relationships, or maybe you want to be a leader or a better leader, in which area you would like to have it. So we will come back to this when we ask you for feedback. So especially for the blues amongst us, I would say, we have 12 keys to success. So a win never comes without a process. And in a process, we are striving for progress. So how do we gonna do that? So every minute I mention the word why. And that is where we start. So we start in the green with why. And with why we move into colors. So we move clockwise through our 12 keys of success. And that is what we're offering here. A journey through the win. A journey through and using 12 keys to success to create your own win, depending on your goals, which we establish hopefully after you understand your colors, after you understand your why, and we are here as coaches to help you go through that. So you see, going from one to the other, we go from why into colors, understanding your strength, understanding your DNA better. Where do you fit in? What is your product? How is your target? Wow, everything is happening over here. Like I said, let's go back to where we were. To the 12 keys of success, and they will stick with you no matter where you're cruising through or what's happening in your journey. So we go from your positioning in your business, in your life. How can you sell your product better? We identify your target market and how to sell and how to package your product better. So we also make sure that you can skyrocket your sales or improve your communication or improve your relationship, and so on and so on. Now it's time to move on. For sure, there is more detail after we go through the rest that we have to offer with you. Now, keep in mind that people will always show their true color, as Peter said before, but it is up to us how to identify the colors and how to use them in your own personal game. So before we recap, I would like to give the word to Rael, and hopefully Rael can tell you more about the products that we are offering, the opportunities to step into the academy.
Sure. Okay. So the takeaways, I'm going to start with that, and then we'll come back to where we're at today. The takeaway for you is to start applying the things we've spoken about. And there's a lot more detail. When Margo spoke about the 12 keys in the academy, that's somewhere between 40 and 50 hours of education. And that's only the tip of the iceberg in terms of implementing that in your life and in your business. So if you flick over about 3 slides down, Margo, keep going. Okay, so what we've done, okay, so where we're going with it, that's perfect, is that we've looked at tonight a few tools for you. Some tools for increasing your sales and business success, ideas for building teams. These are all the things that we cover in the academy that we work with. Techniques for networking in the new world, innovative approaches to creating new long-term relationships. At the end of the day, it's a proven system and structure. 8 countries with another 1 or 2, Peter tells me, coming on board very shortly. And so it's been working around the world in different countries, in different languages, and is succeeding in all those places. And as Peter asked Anna earlier, we've lost Anna, asked Anna earlier, the idea of using many languages and being able to speak many languages is really what has been the proven thing with Integrus systems, is that all the way around the world in a variety of different languages, everyone's been able to apply it in the same level of success. Okay, next. Margo, there we go. So it is about stopping selling and thinking in color. And when we talk about selling, we're not necessarily talking about a physical money transaction. We are talking about a communication where you're selling an idea potentially. And so it's not about a particular sales transaction. If you did the test online and you've been given the link, that's great. If you don't have it and you haven't done the online assessment of your color, please go off to integrusglobal.com. You'll see a logo that looks exactly like the one on the screen. Click on that. It will take you through to the free color assessment, and that will be emailed through to you shortly after you've done the test. Just one health warning here is that sometimes the first email you get does go to your junk mail, so please be aware of that. So please check it. What do you get when we run the academy? Well, you get a minimum of 48 hours of learning, a year of implementation, personal coaching, color workbooks, a color report, and revision videos. And the reality is in the world, and if you price that out, it would come up to a value of more than $25,000 if you added all those things. However, in this crazy post-COVID world, next slide, please, next click through. Thank you, and one more. In the crazy COVID world, we have gone and almost reduced that by an 80%. So exactly the same way, we want you to be 80% successful in everything you do. And how do we get to 80% success? Well, it's by taking the way we talk to Reds, which is normally 11% of our population, and being able to expand your communication to, we'd like to say 100%, but 100% is almost an impossible dream. So we'd like to be 80% efficient. And we've applied that same number. So keep, next slide, Margo, please. Okay, for our academies. So our next academy is, so our academies at the moment are running uniquely. They are face-to-face and interactive live stream. What you see on the screen there are people sitting in the training room actually to the right of me at the moment. And at the same time, a number of people online, Margo being one of those, and Lindsay being one of those, interacting on the screen face-to-face with the people who are in the room. And that's how we, out of the Perth office, are running our interactive live stream and face-to-face academies at the same time. It's starting in September. In fact, the time and date is the 24th of September at 5:15 in the afternoon. Why 5:15? Well, it was just a random time that we decided that doesn't make it too late at night when we finish. So it's starting just after 5 p.m. on September the 24th. It'll be Academy number 3 running out of Perth. And the reality of it is it's a great return on investment. It's fun and builds your teams. It improves your relationships, and it's absolutely a proven system for business improvement. And business and life, it should say, it just gets very long when you say business and life on the screen. So what we'd like at this moment is a little bit of feedback from some of you. If we were face-to-face, we would hand out a piece of paper like we would and ask you to do the feedback. What we'd ask you to do is, Margo, next slide, click over, and we'd like you to put into the chat box, all right, which one of those 4 things or more than one of those 4 things is important to you. So if you just want to answer in the chat box which of those things are important to you, then it gives us an idea and some feedback from what we've done today. Just go back one, Margo, please. Oh, okay. Sorry, there we go. Okay, and the second part of that, the second part of what we're asking for feedback is really what you'd like us to do today. So, and give us an A, B, C, or D in the boxes. You know, if you're interested and you'd like to sign up tomorrow for our academy, please tell us, or today if you're a red. I'm very interested, and it's not for me right now, and that's okay too. We like to educate, we like to share ideas, we like to share the energy that we have with everybody around us, because at the end of the day, that is going for the win. So your takeaway tonight, to summarize the takeaways, is that you've learned a little bit about behaviors and colors. You learned a little bit about how to apply those in business and in life. You've learned some skills that you can take away. You've learned a little bit more about Integrus. And more importantly, you've learned about the role of a high-performance coach, coaching the Australians to a win, going for the win, in Tokyo 21. Are there any other questions that anybody would like to ask at this point of Margo, myself, Lindsay, Peter? Or we've just stumped you and you didn't understand the accent because you've got Margo's Dutch accent, my accent that's from slightly west of Perth.
I would just like add into this, I guess, obviously, like it is a method that is available to anybody who's willing to step in here. And I guess from my end, stepping into the team of Integrus, it's such a win on itself because there are people coming from all areas of business and life. Like I was the youngest, I think I was in the group. We were on different locations. We interacted with each other and still the method was applicable to all of us. And the moment you step into the academy, because it is so interactive, you not only have the method in your hands, but like it becomes actually to life because it is lived by and shared by so many people in the room. And that you talk about, like it is heaps of fun. It is heaps of fun every single time again.
Thank you, Margo. If there are no other questions, I think we can close off at that point. I will